Welcome to Proudly Said, bold voices and real stories. I'm John Hyland, Scouse, queer, and still trying to make sense of it all. This space is for the stuff we don't always say out loud, but probably should. Let's get into it. Did you just see that light dim?
No, I can't see anything over there.
Oh, that's probably a good thing then. To those who are listening and not watching, we're in a lovely communal kitchen area in the plaza in St. Paul Square. That's right, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And the lights just seem to keep dimming and not dimming. And I'm like, is it someone watching me knowing that I've just got a camera?
It is a very old building. It could be something supernatural.
Cool, well, maybe. Okay. Well, that's a nice start to it. So today I am joined by the fabulous Keri Stanistreet, who
Hello.
I reached out to because I had to ask the question, where the fuck are all the lesbians? Because Keri hosts a fabulous social gathering, is what I'm going to call it, called Sapphic Socials. So who's the best person to ask where are the lesbians than you?
It's a very, very good question, and I feel like that's partly why we've started running these events, because we. So for me, it started because I'd gone through a difficult breakup. I don't know if you know any lesbians who've ever been through a breakup.
Oh yes,
I can confirm of all the sexuality combinations. Lesbian breakups are the most devastating of them all.
I had that conversation with Raf when they were just talking about some of her songs being about lesbian breakups. And I went, oh, there must be a lot of them then.
Well, and the other thing is, I think that the behaviour of two women in a romantic relationship when they get together is different to anybody else, in the fact that they want to move in together and get a cat within the first 2 weeks of meeting each other. And then that doesn't help when they come out of the other end and they wonder where their community is.
Yeah.
So that was part of the reason that we started. Obviously, we do have queer spaces in Liverpool, but they're quite male dominated.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And a large amount of the women who are in there are not straight women. Sorry, they are straight women.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
I mean, they're all for the turning, but you know.
They're all straight like girls who've come with their gay
Till
friends.
they've had a wine. But yeah, on the whole, that's generally what happens. So that's why we decided we needed some. If we don't have any permanent dedicated spaces, then we need to create events for people so that they can come and, you know, sometimes you just sort of want to be around your own kind.
That is true.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, not necessarily even, you know, for romantic purposes, but it's just nice to be surrounded by other like-minded women.
Yeah, especially in a way, because I think if we talk about the wider culture of like LGBT or commonly gay venues, it's like meant to be that safe space, but they're more and more not being. And I think that's just because of the times we live in, where it's really the nighttime economy is struggling, so they need the dollar. Yeah,
but it's interesting because I feel like there's been such a shift in cultural attitudes over the last, let's say, 30 years compared to when I was in school, and I would have been absolutely terrified of somebody discovering that I did like women. And you know, now I'm hosting events called Dykes on a Mic, and you know, I couldn't be any more pleased to be able to announce that to everybody.
Yeah.
But that's been a very long journey for me from where I've come from, and I think internalized homophobia is actually a huge issue for many lesbians, especially I'd say maybe in the over 30s category.
Yeah.
I think school was probably the most homophobic place that I've ever been. And you know, I know women who are in their 40s and their 50s who are still trying to recover from some of the harmful messages that they've received.
I know trauma is quite big in like our community as a whole. Like I think a lot of queer people have traumatic experiences, depending on what that could be. But do you think, like, even as I say this with an ounce of irony of what many of our community are going through in the current political climate, but I feel like we are in a more accepting time to previous.
Absolutely, yeah.
Even though, like, you know, there's target and left, right and centre at the minute. But that doesn't help.
But it's come a long way
Yeah.
from where it was, and now I find myself, wondering, because I'm probably not the most queer presenting woman.
What
And
does that
now
mean, though?
I find, well, I mean, exactly, but we all make these snap
Assumptions,
judgments, immediately when we meet people. I think we just naturally want to put people in a box.
Yes.
And it's just so interesting that I've come on this journey where I was absolutely terrified of being discovered, to now really wanting to, champion that dyke name, whatever it is. And that's something I want people to know. I am very happy to proudly shout it now, and I'm so pleased now that I've come that far, looking at the beginning.
What would you say was that? Would you say there was a point in that journey where you're like, fuck it, I am just going to wear my heart on my sleeve? Do you think there was an experience, or is it just that long game of the experiences your life has gone through? That was a lovely on the spot question, wasn't it?
No, it's just there's so much I want to say to that. So no, I can't say that there is one particular pivotal moment. But I had two relationships. One, the first relationship that I had with a woman, and I think a large part of me did break that off because I had internalized homophobia, and I was terrified of everybody finding out. And so I left the woman who I was with because I didn't think I was gay enough to be with her.
Right.
After that, I had a long relationship with a man, and I left him because I wasn't straight enough.
You can't win.
So it's been a roller coaster, to be honest, John. It really has. But I'm so pleased with the place that I've
where you've got to
landed now.
And I think it's one of them. It's like you can look back and go, oh, there's times where I wish that hadn't happened, but at the end of the day, it's made you into the person that you are now.
Exactly. Yeah, I wouldn't take anything back. I wouldn't change anything. And even though it took me a very long time to come to my conclusion, that I definitely do want to be with women. I'm here, and that's the point.
Men, no.
I mean, honestly, obviously, I know you can't relate, but why would anybody choose? Women are absolutely magical.
I mean, I do ask my question myself to every single
day. Why would anybody choose to be with a man if you could be with a woman? That seems insane to me.
Yeah, I do question myself sometimes. Like, why? Why am I gay? Like, why? Seems a lot easier sometimes.
It's not easier, babes. It's definitely not easier. If anything, this is a sweeping generalization, but if anything, I would say that men tend to be quite, in my experience, simple and uncomplicated creatures. Easy to please. And women.
How many gay men are you mates with? Oh, yeah.
Obviously, there's plenty of complicated ones out there, but I find for me, women, although they are absolutely the prize and they're worth working for, not so easy.
You touched on something there about you're proud to talk about the fact that you've got an event called Dykes on a Mic. Mm-hmm. So the word dyke, right, has an interesting connotations where some people are saying that's a word that we shouldn't use anymore, and some who use it proudly. What's your experience of that?
Yeah, I think that is a really interesting one. And obviously we speak to the people who attend our events and we gather feedback. And I do think that amongst, I feel like it's a generational thing amongst some of the older lesbians, or older queer women. They're less likely to want to use that. I think they do still, that phrase still carries so much shame for them. There's so many connotations attached to it. Whereas for me, that was definitely how it felt for me once upon a time, and now I'm very proud to use it.
Yeah.
So I feel everybody still feels different, but like you say, it's this is trauma. That's where people are coming from with their feelings that are attached to it, and I just think, why aren't we reclaiming things that people used to hit us around the back of the heads with? And I would have been terrified of somebody saying that, and now I'm reclaiming it and I'm saying, yep, we are dykes. We like having a sing song. We want to have a nice time.
So let's use it.
So let's go. Although my I have to give the credits for that to the title for that event to my 11-year-old daughter, who is a comedy genius.
Brilliant.
I wouldn't have thought of that, but I'm very, very pleased to use it now.
I love that. But you know what makes you laugh though? It's similar to like the word queer. A lot of gay men don't like to utilize the word queer, and I've had conversations with some who are like, you know, I don't like it, but I respect the fact that the younger generation are utilizing it, and then you've got some who are like, no, not using it. Shouldn't use it for the exact same reasons.
Because for some people that, you know, the meaning of that word runs so deep.
Yeah. It's an interesting one in our community, isn't it?
It really is.
So when it comes to Sapphic Social, so what led you to like just like I want to bring everyone together, and what's the process like where you go, you know, because I'm sure sometimes finding that space that, you know, is a safe space for people can be a bit of a chore.
Yeah, no, that is exactly what we're looking to create for people. Obviously, like I say, coming out of a breakup for many women where you've just been so intertwined in each other's lives. I think for many women, they sort of shut themselves off from the rest of the world, and the two of you go and hide away, and you're not involved in the community side of things. And I think in terms of the venues that are available, because they are more male dominated, and it tends to be you know, sort of drinking out of a plastic cup, you won't have a chair to sit on. This venue doesn't open until midnight.
Yep.
I'd actually quite like to be home by midnight with my slippers on.
Yeah, I'm with you on that now.
So I think all of that's not necessarily what a lot of the lesbians want. I don't want to sit on wiped down furniture. I want to sit on a comfortable chair. I want to drink a well-made margarita out of a glass with ice in it. Is that too much for the lesbians to ask?
I think that's too much to anyone to ask these days, to be honest. But yeah,
that's why we've decided to take our events. So we're finding nice venues available. You know, of course, all of the queer venues have absolutely got their place.
Yeah,
but you know, I might not necessarily want to frequent a bar until 3 a.m. every week. So that's why we're choosing some friendly, more comfortable venues, and that's why we're taking the party to them. But what we would ultimately really like to see would be a permanent lesbian venue.
I was literally about to go. I like the way you said that. It's like you were reading my mind, because I think I mentioned at the start, like a while ago, you would definitely associate Jupiter's to be where you would like as a lesbian bar per se. I mean, Jupiter's was amazing. It was like someone's like living room, like the way it was.
Oh yeah, it was like going into your mate's house, wasn't it?
That's what it was. But it was the only space that you did kind of correlate to that's where you'll find other lesbians, and it's a certain type of vibe, isn't it? Like it's not necessarily anything else. And I feel like gay bars have been like that all the time. They seem to be more for the gay men.
Yeah, absolutely. I want, you know, like a nice wine bar, and they do have some, you know, in Manchester. They do have some nice wine bars where you will find plenty of lesbians, but for some reason, Liverpool have just never, you know, even if it was like, you know, a little cafe bar, and of course we've got loads of queer friendly spaces, you know, places like the Bagelry, that's, you know, you will go in there and find loads of other queers. And that's a nice venue to be able to go to. But we haven't got anything that is very specifically lesbians, and sometimes I would just like to be surrounded by them.
And I suppose what does what does that look like though? Because again, I'm looking at Jupiter's, and the joke was like it was like someone's living room, and then at one point, Navy Bar was very, very like popular with a lesbian crowd, and that's like full blown dance music.
Yeah,
they're very different vibes, which is right because like we don't have the same thing. So if you're having a permanent space, like what is that?
So for me, I would say that I'm specifically passionate about helping people who are maybe a little bit older. I feel like the older lesbians have had different experience. Like I'm talking about the difference in cultural attitudes now to where they were 20 or 30 years ago. For people who've come through that, they've had a very different experience of being gay. I think now, you know, it's almost in some circles maybe quite popular. We're seeing say in the 90s, I couldn't have told you one queer icon that I really know of or that understood. In fact, I'm not even sure that I knew what a lesbian was until I saw the infamous Brookside scene.
Yeah, the lesbian kiss.
Which I think was probably a turning point for an awful lot of, local and further away. But yeah, for a lot of young women, we'd never seen
that kind of
anything
thing on
like that
screen,
before. And I didn't really know what it was at the time, but I can remember it completely and utterly captivating me. And I felt like I just wanted to know more.
Yeah. Like what?
Yeah, exactly.
That can happen?
Exactly. But now, now we're seeing it everywhere. People are, some people are even cashing in on the pink pound, and they're specifically portraying themselves in a way that might not necessarily fit with who they are. But it's totally different. I'm so pleased that that representation is now available for younger people. They can see people who look like them, people who they would want to aspire to be like, because there was nothing. I didn't know what it was really in my early teens.
And I think this isn't a really weird way to describe it. I was going to say, what was really nice about that Brookside kiss? Let's like just devalue it to nice.
And I feel.
Was that they weren't like, okay, was that the 90s?
Yeah.
90s. So I can imagine like there was a stereotype around what a lesbian looked like, i.e. very butch.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't.
Mm-hmm.
On Brookside, they were very femme presenting women. So it's like, oh,
they were straight.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. So
I know a few of them.
I know a few of them in the men's world as well. But it just it opens up your eyes to like what it could be. Because I know I remember having a conversation with my mum once, and she was like, and it's fine, about identities and how like certain ways certain people look. Like gay men, it's like effeminate can just literally be a bit of makeup and whatever. But I find with women, it's one extreme to another. And I did learn the phrase. What's the phrase I learned from Raf? Switch.
Raf likes a bit of switch, and obviously there are many different flavors of lesbian available. And that's I feel like for me, I just find it mad the way people are still absolutely stereotyping.
Yeah.
I've been for meetings with people about hosting a Sapphic Social event, and then we've come to the end of the meeting and then just been chatting generally, and I've said something, my partner, and they've said, "Oh, are you gay?" And I'm like,
yeah, a full-blown conversation with you about a lesbian social event.
I was like, what do you think my role is here? And they said, "Oh, I just thought you were really good at ally."
Wow.
Which, would be nice, but really, if we're going to be running lesbian events in Liverpool, let's have them run
by lesbians.
By the lesbians.
Yeah.
Right? But also, and that's another example. We've so when we were doing research for we do one of our most popular events is the Sapphic Singles Nights, that are dating events, but it's all really nice and relaxed. So for the when we wanted to find out a little bit more about what other people were doing, so 5 of us all got together and we all went to a lesbian dating night.
Bit of research. I love that though.
It was one of the most painful things that has ever happened to me in my entire life.
Was it like speed dating? Ding.
Yep, that's exactly what it was, and exactly what I will never do to anybody else having experienced.
Move on.
There was 5 of us who all turned up together
to a group of mates.
Yeah, and then there were 5 other women there. It was in quite a sad, cold hotel environment on a Monday night, and they sat us around. We had all at a table each, and it felt like there was a buzzer that would go off, and it felt like you were doing a job interview. It was so difficult and so painful. There's no possible way that a natural connection, even if you did have one with one of those people, could possibly flourish in that environment. Yeah. And this one poor woman, who I suspect has struggled with her sexuality her entire life, she was a little bit older, and she actually got absolutely hammered.
Oh no.
before it had even started, she went round all of us individually and said something insane to everybody separately. And then at the end of it, and they ding the bell at the end like it's a boxing match.
Round one.
And exactly. So, and this woman stands up, she screws up her piece of paper and she throws it on the floor and she storms out of the room. And having experienced that, I thought, that's so sad for people who, like, she doesn't know any lesbians. She's probably just coming to terms with their sexuality. She's so nervous about this. They've put her into the most nerve-wracking environment that she could imagine. She's had a horrible time and she's left with a bad taste in her mouth.
I feel those kind of events, it's just like you're having the same conversation multiple times.
Yeah, she didn't. She had a wild conversation with all of us individually.
Okay.
A lot of it is not broadcastable.
Take that with a pinch of salt. Take it how you will.
But that sort of inspired me, and I thought, if this is what's available for women who want to date women in Liverpool, we can do a lot better than that.
Yeah.
So that's what we've been doing. I think the main aim for me in all of our events is that people feel comfortable. It's not there's nothing forced. We have a little icebreaker. My sister is also gay, and a lot of my family are.
Genetical.
It's
Genetical?
quite the legacy of gays. And she had a company doing like board games for hen parties. So she came up with this game. So it's very similar to Snap.
The card game?
Yeah.
Okay.
But this one is called Snatch Match.
I don't know where this is going.
So everybody has a card each, and when they come in, they're all given their card, and they have to work their way around the room to find another person who has got the matching card to them, just so that you can have a natural conversation.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for you to speak to people in the room, because I know that is nerve-wracking for a lot of people. And we've got things like as soon as they come in, I have to warn them, because these cards are absolutely obscene.
I can visualize.
One of the girls, this poor girl, but I think that can be kind of helpful, because if you have to go round, so I'm going to pick Gabby's growler, for example. So you have to go around a room of 50 lesbians and ask them if they're Gabby's growler. And one of the poor girls messaged me after, because she'd accidentally taken her card home with her, and she said, "Oh, I need to drop your card off." And then I got a message a few hours later, and she said, "My card's just fallen out of my bag in work." She said, "They will never stop calling me Gabby. I'm never going to live it down. That's it now." So sorry about that. You are Gabby forever. But I think it is a good icebreaker for people to have to go up to other people, and also like it just makes it a bit more fun and relaxed and less jobbing, if you like.
I like, though, because it's an interesting combination of like it's relaxed, but there's a bit of structure to it. Because I'm gonna make a really weird, horrendous, like worky related comparison. Mm-hmm. Networking events, I despise them, but if there's a little bit of structure to them, i.e., go and do this or that, and it kind of not forces, it's not the right phrase, but it pushes you to have a certain kind of conversation. Fabulous. So yeah, I like that, and the fact that it's fun. Like, the bit of obscene cards, like it's not quite Cards Against Humanity, but
I think we have horrified a few prudes.
Oh, really?
There you go, Got to break a few eggs.
So I didn't realise you had so many different variations of events. So how many do you do?
So we do loads of different events. We've been going for just coming up to 12 months now.
Is that all?
Yeah.
Seems a lot longer.
Still quite new, but and I'm also surprised how well we've done.
Well done.
But it just goes to show there's absolutely an appetite for this kind of thing. And when we set it up, the amount of people who came to me and said, "This is exactly what we need."
Yeah.
That it just goes to show that's what people want. It's still needed. But there's loads of different, I'd say probably one of my favourite events that we've done would be the arm wrestling event.
I think I've seen videos of this.
But honestly, I think that was the most amount of fun I've ever had.
I want to know where that like came from. Let's have a night dedicated to everyone arm wrestling, so everyone's having a bit touchy-feely.
So, well, yeah, and that there is a sort of underlying sexual thing. So obviously, you've got you're gripping the hand of a stranger, you're looking them in the eye, and you are trying your absolute hardest to take them down. There's definitely something underlying. But the reason we start, I'm probably, I don't want to say an avid arm wrestler, but something that regularly.
That's what I do in my spare time.
So I saw a guy who works in a coffee shop, and I went to the coffee shop for a work meeting related to my day job, and the person I was meeting said, "That guy at the counter keeps waving at you over there," and I was like, "All right, yeah, I really recognise him, but I don't know where from." And then the guy I was having a meeting with, he went over and got saved, and he came back and he said, he said that you beat him in an arm wrestling match in the pub last week. And I was like,
just randomly.
Oh yeah, that actually sounds quite plausible. I do that all the time. I do quite enjoy arm wrestling men in the pub for a laugh. But I always win.
Wait, I was going to say, but so you always win.
That's the fun of it for me.
Demasculate. Is it emasculating? You know what
I'm saying? Maybe I could be some sort of championship arm wrestler. Maybe I should give that a go properly.
Yeah, do it.
But then when the other girls on the team found this out, they were like, oh, I think that's a great idea, and we all really want to go and arm wrestle. But it was just so silly and ridiculous, and everyone was so on board with it. The way that everybody was screaming anytime anyone was competing. Like people were so invested in who was going to win these matches. So that was one of the funnest nights I've ever had.
But this is it. Like, I'm looking at some of the events that like yourself doing. There's other groups that have popped up in the city, and it's like, can we come?
Yeah,
because there's nothing like that happening elsewhere.
No, well, yeah, I hadn't seen anything. Obviously, I've seen since we've set up. There's been a couple of other organisations who've popped up, and there's people like Lavender Nights. We went to the Lavender Nights birthday last weekend, and we had a lovely time at that. And I just think there is so much appetite for it in the city. I just think the more the merrier. I want to get as many of these events going as possible. And we don't always exclude gay best friends. So,
the GBF.
You might. I think we've already got one booked onto Dykes on a Mic. So,
oh really?
If that's your thing,
mate, no, I can't sing. Is it
so
singing?
you need to be able to sing. I am an avid karaoke, but I always say that the best performer in the room is really the best singer.
Well, yeah, like, have you watched this is a random digression. I had to rewatch there was ITV's Celebrity Karaoke Club. Did you ever watch it?
I don't know about this.
Oh, it'll be on ITVX, so like you can go watch and back.
Okay.
So there's a couple of standard seasons, just standard celebrities. They get put into a room, get ploughed with alcohol, and basically they do karaoke.
It's a great idea.
It's hilarious. But there was a drag edition. It's like the Vivian was on it, and I think the one who won it, well, I don't know if you're okay with Drag Race. Okay, so Trinity the Tuck.
Oh, nice. Yes,
won it. Can't sing for toffee, but whenever they got up to do their one, gave it beans.
Yeah,
but couldn't sing.
Exactly. And it's the I've always sung, and I absolutely love singing, and I think people can get intimidated by that. I'm like, it's not. That's absolutely not what it's about for me. And the people who I enjoy the performances of the most are certainly not the best singers. They're the movers and the shakers.
Do you find the singers probably taking it a bit too seriously? Like, I can belt.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the people who just get in there, and if you've never seen a lesbian absolutely going for it, singing "Gimme, Gimme, Gimme,"
and
a man after midnight.
Because of the irony of it. Because I don't bloody want a man after midnight.
It's raining men. Yeah, that's always a popular one. But honestly, nobody does It's Raining Men justice like a lesbian.
Because it's ironic.
It's just really good fun. It's so camp. It's ironic that they're the lyrics.
Yeah, I'm not even going to go into it too much because I can't remember. But like, I'm sure there was a reason for that song, and that it was not meant to become the gay anthem that it became.
but it is.
But come on,
Here
who
we are.
did not think that was going to happen?
The gays are taking over.
Well, they are. I mean, that's a conversation for another day, like the demographic changes. Jeez. But anyway.
But I think that's all down to the change in cultural attitudes. That's what affects it so much. I think obviously these people have always existed, their sexualities have always existed, but it's gone under the radar, and now people feel much more comfortable about their queer identities. And having visible queer people in the world has made all the difference to that. And I feel like that's just going to continue. It's gone up so much in the last 30 years. To imagine where we'll be in 20 years' time. Hopefully everybody will actually be comfortable with themselves by then.
I think is it I don't know the exact percentages, but is it like Gen Z now is the biggest percentage of openly queer, just to give it that umbrella term, individuals than any other generation since like records began.
And this is what I mean about it almost being fashionable.
Yeah.
Now that it's become so popular, but I don't, whatever the reasons are behind it, if people feel comfortable exploring who they are and living to their true identity, then I fully support that.
And even if you say like the term fashionable, I understand where people are like, oh, they're not really trans or they're not really this, it's just because it's an in thing. Who the fuck is going to pick something where they get so much shit?
Not trans. You wouldn't change your sex for fashion, would you?
Exactly, because especially now the amount of crap on it. But also in the same breath, exactly what you said, at least people feel comfortable to be able to explore that openly.
Yeah, and but just while we have touched on that, can we just say that it's not trans people who are abusing women. The men who are abusing women don't need a guys. They don't need a wig to sneak into a bathroom. They're never ever going to go to that. Like, they can abuse women wherever they like, and they do. So actually, I think we need to start somewhere very differently in educating the young straight men. On what consent and respect is, not targeting trans people using bathrooms because they're not going in there to abuse people. They're
going for a piss.
They just want to slash.
Exactly that. And I mean, I could go on to a massive tangent about how these laws changing is actually, they're making it easier. But
yes,
but you're on one definitely about the toxic masculinity argument and how like we just need to start teaching our young people the correct things. And but
I'm so terrified by the amount of young men who are relating to the views of people like Andrew Tate.
I know, and it's like
that's really, really worrying, and we are doing something dramatically wrong. That they think that this is somebody who they'd like to be aligned with.
I don't get why. I just genuinely don't understand why. I don't watch them. I've caught clips when they've been shared, and like I just don't understand the what's likable about it.
Yeah, I think I can understand why, and obviously there's experiences that have led them to that point, but I think we need to be dealing with this much earlier on.
I agree, absolutely agree. But on that note, I am conscious that I'm going to end on a really serious note there. Yeah. But moving forward, what do we see the future for Sapphic Socials? That's putting you on the spot a little bit, and yourself, like, because you've brought this together with a bunch of group of different people. Like, do you see how it expands, etc., and evolves?
Yeah. So I hope. Obviously, we've grown very quickly. It's surprised.
I can't believe it's 12 months. That's
me. It surprised me how well we've done. I'm so pleased with the progress. We build events that we just think would be good fun, that we want people to come to. We are going to have something very exciting early next year.
Okay.
Where you might potentially see performances from some of the team coming up. For that.
I'll be keeping an eye on that.
So yeah, we'll have gay best friends in for that
one.
I'll
be getting my best friend who is a lesbian to be like, can you go and can I come with you?
we've got some very talented people. I think the majority of the team are fairly arty. I've no doubt that's to do with the queer ADHD crossover.
Yes, definitely the neurospiciness.
But there's plenty of fun things that we're going to share with people early next year.
Just keep tabs on like socials and stuff.
Yeah, just keep an eye out on Sapphic Socials on Instagram, and all of the events will be on there. We've got We've got another singles night coming up in Albert Schloss.
Oh, in Schloss. Oh, I like Schloss.
And then we'll be hanging around for the entertainment later.
So will that be on a Friday?
That is actually on a Thursday. This one,
okay.
But they have a really good music night on a Thursday. So we're going to take everybody downstairs after the event, where they will not only be allowed to dance on the tables, but they will be encouraged to dance on the tables.
Okay.
But we all we just have so much fun. I just want to share it with as many people as possible. Fun. Yeah, you know where we are, lesbians. Come find us.
So again, just to keep an eye on it, what's the social handle?
So it's currently Sapphic Liverpool on Instagram for reasons that I won't go into now, but it will shortly be returning to Sapphic Socials again.
Is there a website, or is it just the social? Is it just the Instagram?
Not a website, because I just think we've never needed it.
I'll cut that bit out.
Okay.
I just wasn't sure. I was in my head, I'm pretty sure it's just the Instagram, but I'll cut that bit out. That's fine. No, thank you so much for joining me. That was a lovely little journey. I really enjoyed that. I know you were shitting yourself beforehand.
I had a very nice time.
Good.
Thank you for the invite and letting me share my experience.
And I think people get quite a lot from yourself, whether just looking at how pretty you are or just at the actual experience from it. If you want to learn more about the podcast, it's all at Proudly Said on Instagram and TikTok, or proudlysaid.co.uk. And until next time, tra. You've been listening to Proudly Said. Now, if it meant something to you, why not pass it on? If it didn't, maybe it will one day. Either way, stay kind, stay loud, and stay proud.